The stone lip of a narrow cave outside Qumran is cold in the shade, rough with salt and dust, and marked by shallow scratches left by hands that passed through the opening long before the first modern archaeologist arrived. The rock does not move. The air inside is dry. A few feet farther in, the darkness closes around the wall. In 1614, the Roman Catholic Church placed the Book of Enoch among writings it did not accept as part of the biblical canon. The reasons were theological and historical. Its transmission was incomplete in the West, its authorship was uncertain, and its teachings did not fit comfortably within the boundaries of accepted scripture. The text did not disappear completely. It survived in Ethiopia, where the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church preserved it in Ge'ez. Then, the 20th century changed the scale of the evidence. Fragments of Enochic writings were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls near Qumran. They were not recovered from a medieval library. They came from ancient caves in the Judean desert, preserved beside other Jewish writings from the Second Temple period. The discovery showed that traditions associated with Enoch were being copied and circulated centuries before the Christian era. And one passage became especially difficult to ignore. The Book of Enoch describes human beings as having responses that occur before ordinary conscious awareness, linking the body, the senses, and the hidden workings of judgment in ways that sound surprisingly close to what modern neuroscience now describes as rapid threat processing. The central claim of this video is simple. The ancient Enochic text preserves an observation about the human body reacting to danger before conscious thought catches up with it. In the next several minutes, you'll see what the text actually says, what the ancient fragments establish, and why modern research into fear and automatic response makes those passages more interesting than they first appear. If ancient descriptions of the human body and hidden processes of the mind fascinate you, hit subscribe. Every week, we uncover what was removed from scripture, history, and records. But here's what makes this stranger. The surviving Enoch tradition is not a single manuscript produced at one moment. It is a collection of writings transmitted across languages and centuries. The Ethiopic text is the complete version known today, while Aramaic fragments from Qumran preserve portions of several Enochic books. Those fragments were cataloged among the Dead Sea Scrolls, including manuscripts conventionally identified as 4 Q201 through 4 Q212. That numbering matters because it places the material in an archaeological system rather than a modern retelling. Manuscripts from Cave 4 preserve sections of the Book of the Watchers, the Astronomical Book, and other Enochic writings. Scholars, including Joseph T. Milik, worked extensively on the Aramaic Enoch material after the discovery of the scrolls, and later researchers compared those fragments with the Ethiopic tradition. The dates are important too. The Aramaic manuscripts belong broadly to the last centuries before the Common Era. The Ethiopic manuscript tradition is much later, but it preserves material demonstrably older than the surviving copies. In other words, the physical manuscripts and the complete Ethiopian text are not the same thing. They are different layers of evidence pointing backward toward an older textual tradition. And what does that older tradition do? It repeatedly treats the human being as more than a conscious observer. The body receives signs, the senses respond, judgment follows. The individual exists inside a larger system of perception, consequence, and hidden order. That does not make Enoch a neuroscience textbook. It does make the comparison worth examining, and this is where it gets disturbing. What we're looking at breaks into 4 parts. Part 1 begins in the Enochic material, with the human senses and the experience of the created world. In the Book of the Watchers, especially chapters 1 through 5, the emphasis is not on laboratory anatomy, but on order. Heaven follows order. Seasons follow order. The earth produces according to order. Human conduct also has consequences within that order. Part 2 becomes more specific in the sections describing judgment and the inner condition of human beings. In chapters 81 through 82, Enoch receives written knowledge and is instructed to preserve what he has been shown. The text repeatedly connects knowledge with observation and correct interpretation. Seeing is not the same as understanding. Information arrives before the final judgment about what it means. Part 3 appears in the similitudes, especially chapters 46 through 48, where hidden conditions are revealed before their consequences become fully visible. The text is concerned with recognition, judgment, and the disclosure of what was already present but not yet understood. Part 4 is the modern comparison. Modern neuroscience has established that the nervous system can begin responding to threatening or emotionally significant stimuli before a person forms a fully conscious interpretation of what is happening. The process is not supernatural. It is fast biological computation. Your eyes detect movement. Your ears register a sudden sound. Your brain evaluates patterns. Autonomic systems can alter heart rate, breathing, muscle tension, and attention. Only afterward may you consciously describe the event as danger. That sequence is not an invention of Enoch, but the ancient text's repeated concern with perception preceding conscious judgment creates an unexpected point of contact. The distinction is crucial. Enoch describes a religious and cosmological framework. Neuroscience describes neural processing. They are not the same explanation. One should not be substituted for the other. Yet, the underlying observation can overlap. Your body can begin preparing for danger before the sentence in your mind is finished. Modern research has given that observation a biological vocabulary. Researchers studying fear conditioning, startle responses, attention, and autonomic activity have shown that defensive reactions can occur with very little conscious deliberation. The amygdala is involved in detecting emotionally significant stimuli, but the complete process is distributed across multiple brain systems. The brainstem, hypothalamus, autonomic nervous system, sensory pathways, and cortical regions all contribute. One famous line of research came from work on rapid visual processing and defensive behavior, while later studies refined the idea that there is not one simple emergency pathway running from the eye directly to the amygdala. Instead, several parallel systems operate at different speeds and levels of complexity. That distinction makes the ancient comparison more useful, not less. Because Enoch does not need to have known the anatomy of neurons for the observation to be recognizable. The body moves first. The conscious explanation arrives later. There is another reason this distinction matters. When people say the body reacts before the mind, they can mean several different things. A spinal reflex is one example. A startle response is another. A learned fear response is different again. A person can also notice a pattern without being able to immediately explain why the pattern feels dangerous. These processes should not be collapsed into one mechanism. The ancient material gives us no reason to do that. Instead, it gives us a broader picture of a human being receiving information from the world and responding at more than one level. The visible reaction can come before the verbal explanation. The internal judgment can continue after the physical response has already begun. Consider a simple example. You are walking through a familiar room at night. Something moves at the edge of your vision. You stop. your muscles tighten. Your attention shifts toward the movement. Then you identify it as a curtain moving in the air. The conscious conclusion is harmless. The first reaction was not. Your nervous system did not need a complete sentence saying, "That object is probably a curtain." It needed only enough information to increase attention. This is one of the most important facts about survival systems. They are designed to tolerate false alarms because the cost of missing a genuine threat can be greater than the cost of reacting to something harmless. That principle also explains why the same person can react differently after repeated exposure. A sound that once produced a strong response may eventually become familiar. Learning changes the system. Context changes the system. Expectation changes the system. So when Enoch speaks about knowledge, perception, and judgment, the modern parallel should not be reduced to a claim that the ancients discovered one hidden brain circuit. The parallel is broader. The human organism is constantly receiving information before conscious language catches up. That is a powerful observation, even without attaching anything supernatural to it. There is also a manuscript lesson hidden inside the comparison. The Enoch tradition did not survive as a single pristine object. It survived through copying. Copying creates differences. Languages change. Terms acquire new meanings. Scribes make mistakes. Sections can be lost. Communities preserve some passages more carefully than others. That means every translation is an interpretation. A translator must decide how an ancient word functions in context. A modern reader then receives the translator's decision as if it were the original category. This is why the Qumran fragments matter. They provide an older linguistic layer against which later witnesses can be compared. They allow scholars to ask whether a phrase in the Ethiopic tradition has an earlier counterpart. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the evidence is too fragmentary. Sometimes the comparison exposes uncertainty rather than resolving it. Here's what the translators left out. The problem is not necessarily that a translator deleted a secret sentence. The more important omission can occur through compression. When ancient terms connected with flesh, breath, spirit, heart, perception, and inner knowledge are translated into modern English, several layers of meaning can collapse into a single familiar word. In ancient Jewish literature, the heart is not always simply the modern emotional organ. It can represent thought, intention, judgment, and the inner person. Breath can carry physical and symbolic meanings. Flesh can refer to the embodied human condition. Spirit can refer to a range of meanings depending on context. That matters because a reader who sees only the word mind may imagine a modern brain. A reader who sees only heart may imagine emotion. The ancient categories were broader. The text, therefore, does not say, in modern scientific language, that your amygdala detects danger before your prefrontal cortex does. It says something older and less technical. The human being does not experience reality only through deliberate thought. That distinction was easy to flatten in translation. The suppression starts at the boundaries of accepted canon and authority, long before modern debates about neuroscience. The Book of Enoch was known in early Jewish and Christian circles. It was quoted directly in the New Testament letter of Jude, where a passage attributed to Enoch appears in Jude 14 and 15. Early Christian writers also knew the text. Tertullian regarded it as valuable, while other authorities questioned its status and transmission. Over time, Enoch became increasingly marginal in most Christian traditions. The Latin West did not preserve the complete work. The Ethiopian Church did. That is the first major divide. Then came the age of manuscripts. European scholars encountered Ethiopic Enoch in the 18th century. James Bruce brought Ethiopic manuscripts to Europe after his travels in the 1770s. In 1821, Richard Lawrence published an English translation. Later, scholars continued to compare Ethiopic manuscripts with other evidence. Then the Dead Sea Scrolls changed the discussion again. Fragments of Enoch in Aramaic demonstrated that the work existed in the Second Temple period. That did not prove every later wording was unchanged. It did not prove every theological claim. But it removed one easy objection: the idea that Enoch was simply a late medieval invention. The manuscript evidence was older, much older, and that is where careful reading matters. There is no need to invent a secret council that gathered in a locked chamber and decided to erase the human body's hidden reactions. The historical process was more ordinary and therefore more revealing. Texts survive when communities copy them. They disappear when communities stop copying them. Canonical boundaries are formed through theological judgment, geography, language, and institutional tradition. Enoch survived because one major Christian tradition continued to preserve it. It disappeared from ordinary Western biblical life because other traditions did not. Now, here's where it gets active. In the modern era, the pressure is no longer a single institution burning manuscripts. It is the pressure created by fragmented evidence, restricted access, specialist languages, delayed publications, damaged fragments, and the enormous difficulty of reconstructing ancient texts from incomplete pieces. The Dead Sea Scrolls themselves became the center of controversy because access to photographs, fragments, and scholarly materials was controlled for decades. Some researchers complained that publication was moving too slowly. Others argued that the editorial process was necessary because the material was extraordinarily fragile and complex. Eventually, access expanded. Digital imaging transformed the field. High-resolution photographs allowed scholars outside the original editorial teams to examine material that once required privileged access. The result was not a single revelation proving every disputed claim. It was something more useful. Independent comparison became easier. That distinction matters. There is no verified modern incident proving that an artifact containing a hidden neuroscience passage from Enoch was confiscated and deliberately erased. Claims like that circulate easily because they fit the atmosphere of the subject. But the surviving evidence does not require such a claim. The stronger case is already in the manuscripts. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying the Book of Enoch secretly contains modern neuroscience, or that ancient scribes possessed knowledge of neurons, brain imaging, or the autonomic nervous system. But what the Enochic material describes, when you look at it carefully, matches a real feature of human experience. Perception, bodily response, and conscious interpretation do not always happen at the same time. You know this from your own body. A door slams behind you. Your shoulders tighten. Your breathing changes. You turn. Only then do you recognize what happened. Sometimes you react before you know why. That is not evidence of supernatural prediction. It is evidence of a nervous system built for speed. The body is constantly estimating what matters. The brain does not wait for a fully formed internal speech before initiating every response. Sensory information is processed through multiple pathways. Some signals receive rapid evaluation. Reflexes can operate without conscious decision. Hormonal and autonomic changes can begin before you can explain them. This is why a person can flinch at a sudden movement, even when they know, a moment later, that there was no real threat. The body was not waiting for certainty. It was responding to possibility. And that is where the ancient comparison becomes precise. Enoch's world is organized around signs, order, perception, judgment, and consequences. Modern neuroscience is organized around signals, processing, prediction, attention, and response. The languages are different, but both recognize a gap between what happens and when a person becomes consciously aware of what happened. What we have to confront is the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. If ancient Enochic manuscripts existed centuries before the Common Era, then the tradition is older than the surviving medieval copies. If those manuscripts repeatedly organize human experience around perception, knowledge, judgment, and hidden processes, then the text is describing a layered model of human awareness. If modern neuroscience independently demonstrates that bodily and defensive responses can precede conscious recognition, then the comparison is not based on imagination alone. And if the ancient text is read according to its own categories, rather than forced into modern scientific vocabulary, then its significance becomes clearer. It is not a scientific manual. It is an ancient record of how people understood the relationship between the visible body, inner awareness, perception, and the unseen forces they believed governed human life. The evidence does not say that Enoch predicted neuroscience. It says something more modest. Human beings noticed long ago that consciousness is not always first. The body can know something is wrong before the conscious mind can explain it. Return now to that cave outside Qumran. The stone lip is still cold in the shade. Dust still settles in the scratches along its surface. The opening is still narrow. The darkness still begins only a few feet inside. The people who entered that space could not have known the vocabulary modern science would eventually use for automatic threat detection. They did not speak of neural circuits or autonomic activation. They had other words. They wrote about perception. They wrote about judgment. They wrote about hidden order. And the fragments remained, not in the mind of a modern researcher, in the ground. It is still there. Still holding the marks of human hands. Still opening into the same dry darkness where ancient pages once disappeared from ordinary sight. Exactly as the surviving evidence tells us. Something happened before you consciously understood it. Your body reacted, then your mind caught up,